1953 marked one of the darkest chapters in Iran's modern history. In that year, the country's democratically elected Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, was overthrown in a coup orchestrated jointly by the CIA and Britain's MI6. Known as Operation Ajax, this event not only shattered Iran's sovereignty, but also reshaped Middle Eastern politics and the global oil industry for decades to come. Born in 1882 in Tehran to an aristocratic family, Mossadegh studied law and politics in France and Switzerland before returning to Iran. By the 1940s, he'd become a prominent member of parliament and a leading figure in the nationalist movement. At the time, Iran's oil industry was controlled by the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, later BP, which gave Iran only 16% of the profits, while Britain took the rest. This exploitation fueled widespread anger among Iranians. In 1951, Mossadegh was elected prime minister. His boldest move was to nationalize Iran's oil industry, ending Britain's monopoly and asserting Iran's economic independence. The law passed through parliament, and for the first time, Iranians felt ownership of their natural resources. But Britain refused to accept this decision, launching a global boycott of Iranian oil and filing lawsuits in international courts, which Mossadegh successfully defended. While Mossadegh's popularity soared at home, his nationalism alarmed Western powers. Britain wanted its oil revenues back, and the United States feared that Iran might drift toward communism during the Cold War. Mossadegh's democratic ideals and independence were seen as a threat to Western interests. In 1952, Britain proposed a covert operation to the U.S. to remove Mossadegh. President Dwight Eisenhower and Prime Minister Winston Churchill approved the plan. The CIA appointed Kermit Roosevelt Jr., grandson of Theodore Roosevelt, to lead the mission. Operation Ajax relied on propaganda, bribery, and violence. Newspapers and radio broadcasts painted Mossadegh as a communist and traitor. Military officers, police, and clerics were bribed to turn against him. Paid mobs were sent into Tehran's streets to create chaos. The first attempt on August 15, 1953, failed when Mossadegh's supporters resisted. But on August 19, the second attempt succeeded. Armed gangs and soldiers stormed Tehran, attacked Mossadegh's home, and arrested him. The coup cost around $7 million, a massive sum at the time. Mossadegh was tried, sentenced to 3 years in prison, and spent the rest of his life under house arrest. The Shah, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, who had fled earlier, was restored to power. In 1954, a new oil consortium was established. BP received 40%, American companies 40%, other European firms 20%. Iran's share rose to 50%, but Western companies still dominated. The Shah's regime became increasingly authoritarian. With CIA support, Iran's secret police, Savak, was created, notorious for torture and repression. This era of dictatorship lasted until 1979 Islamic Revolution, which finally toppled the Shah. Operation Ajax had far-reaching consequences. It destroyed Iran's democracy and entrenched authoritarian rule. It fueled anti-Western sentiment that persists to this day. It weakened the global movement for oil nationalization and influenced the creation of OPEC. It became a Cold War blueprint for U.S. and British interventions in other countries. In 2013, the CIA officially admitted its role in the coup, confirming what Iranians had long known. The overthrow of Mohammad Mossadegh was not just a coup, it was a warning. It showed how powerful nations could crush democracy to protect their economic and strategic interests. Mossadegh remains a national hero in Iran, remembered for his courage and vision. Operation Ajax reminds us that history's lessons must be learned if nations are to safeguard their sovereignty and democracy.